Peace family, welcome back you guys. If we are meeting for the first time, I am Oshun Yinka, your new favorite womb goddess, and on this channel we talk about everything holistic healing to the womb, tapping into your divine feminine energy, and being the bossed up soft girl that you are inspired to be. So today we're going to be talking about how to be more confident, how to be so confident in a world that's so cruel, how to still be that girl, wake up that girl, and even when you're not feeling like it, still portraying being that girl every single day. We're going to talk about tips that I use personally on my journey to be the confident girl that you see today. And you guys can take whatever resonates with you or implement one or all of these. But if you get any value from this video whatsoever, promise me that you'll give me a thumbs up to let me know that it resonated.
Yinka. I'm the spiritual type, and I'm a boss too. I'm a strong black woman. I can teach you femininity, the life of luxury. Come chill with me and let me show you.
Okay guys, so how to be more confident. I want to give you guys a little backstory of like who I am and where I come from, and you know what qualifies me to even be giving you this information. So I am, you know, from a small town in Henderson, North Carolina. I'm very country girl from a small town. And in my city, I was known from either one or my other side of the family. On my mom's side of the family, you know, bunch of criminals, bunch of drug addicts, and you know, fighters and scammers and things like that. And then on my dad's side, which is the side that I was raised on, was all ministers. My grandfather was a pastor, and I grew up with my grandparents. So you know, it wasn't much that I could do without, you know, somebody, oh, I'm gonna tell Pastor Thomas this, or you know, whatever. I always had the light on me being a PK, so that didn't discourage me from being confident, you know. But I will also say that I've always been very heavy set. I've always been the biggest out of my siblings, the grandkids, you know. I've always been a bigger girl, and I grew up always being bullied, mostly from my family. It wasn't even, I never really got bullied in school because, you know, I was usually somebody who was sticking up for other people, but I never really got bullied in school, especially not for my weight. But I got a lot of backlash from my own family, like, and mostly I feel like it was because I was a confident girl, or I used to lie to myself and make myself feel confident, make myself, you know, feel like that girl, because I realized very young that nobody else was going to love on me. Nobody else was going to hype me up. Nobody else was going to tell me that I was beautiful. As I'm even saying this right now, I can't even remember the first time somebody told me that I was beautiful. I can't even remember, but I know for sure it was not from anybody in my family, anybody who said that they loved me. It was not from them. It was from, I know I used to have distant family who would always like hype me up, like, girl, you so stylish, or, you know, you so pretty, you wear your hair in such, you know, unique ways and things like that. But I've always been a rebel. I've always been someone who stood out and, you know, broke the rules, or at least tried to, to bend them. But that was always me. And growing up, always being the biggest out of the group, the least attractive out of the group. You know, I always had the shortest hair. I've had alopecia for as long as I can remember. With my hair being shorter, you could kind of see in certain styles where, you know, my edges was gone or whatever. And I just knew for myself at a very young age that if I didn't love on myself, if I didn't find things to be beautiful about myself, that I could potentially kill myself. I did used to cut myself in high school, but it wasn't because of, you know, my weight or my appearance or anything. It was just the fact that I just didn't feel loved. And I grew up like that for years. It wasn't until, you know, I went off to college and started to really see who I was, and, you know, and come into my own personality and things like that, or be able to set, you know, openly be myself. It wasn't until college. So I say all that to say, like, I wasn't really that confident. And I know around I say probably like my sophomore year of college is when I started to get real introverted. I was always very extroverted because I was always the top of my class in grade school. Like I always was the smartest. Like school was easy for me, so I got to do a lot of stuff that the other kids couldn't do because I finished my work so early. And I've always been very mature for my age, so I never really dated guys my age. Even when I was in high school, I was dating guys who were 21, 22 years old, like even in high school. And save the drag in the comments because I really don't give a fuck. Like I've always been mature, and I know the difference between a predator and someone who was interested in my mindset and things like that. Because one thing about it, those men did not touch me. They did not touch me at all. They would say, even if I tried to kiss them or whatever, it was always like, girl, ain't nobody going to jail behind you. I know who you such and such is. I know who your daddy is. I know whatever. Like they never tried me like that. It was all game from me being that girl. Okay, so I never really cared about what boys my age or girls my age were saying, because a lot of them, they didn't even meet my standards. Like they weren't on my level, on a mental level. So I was always kind of advanced, or always kind of like the black sheep in every scenario. So from grade school up until I would say like maybe sophomore year of college, I just had this fake sense of security. I have this fake sense of confidence where I would portray it like I was that girl. You wouldn't know that I was confident. Like I wasn't accepting the bare minimum from certain people, like although I really was, but what I consider bare minimum at that time, it wasn't bare minimum. But I would have this sense of myself like I was that girl, and that can nobody tell me nothing, and I didn't have to accept the bare minimum just because I was a bigger girl, or just because I don't have on all this designer and things like that. Like I used to always tell myself those things, but it was a false sense of security. And I learned that it was a fake sense of confidence because when I started my healing journey, I started to see the real me. I started to see that I really am kind of shy. Like I really am very introverted. I really don't like to be around people. I really don't like. And what this fake sense of confidence was coming from, it was the liquid courage. I was always drunk. I've been drinking since I was like 14 years old. I was always drunk. I was always lit. I was always the life of the party because I was always drunk. Like I was always, I always had some substance in my system that made it seem like this. But when I started my healing journey, it really pretty much put a mirror in my face like, girl, you're not really that confident at all. You really don't have the confidence to tell a guy, no, I don't want to sleep with you. There's been a few times where I didn't have the courage to tell a guy that I went out on a date with that, I didn't want to have sex with them. And they consider that, date rape or whatever you want to call it. But I know a lot of women share that narrative where you are not interested in that person. You might have went out with them and now they're being mad aggressive. They're being mad annoying and coercing, and to the point where you just give it up because you either fear for your life or you just don't want them to, blast you and say, oh, you're stuck up or whatever the case is. But all of that is just a lack of confidence. All of that comes from a lack of confidence. So I didn't learn all of that until I started my healing journey. And so as I'm learning this about myself, it started to put things in perspective. Like, what else am I, what else did I have this false sense of security with? Another thing I saw was when I started business. So I really do not like being in front of the camera. You guys, like, it started when I first started live streaming and, being a social media presence or whatever. Like, it took everything for me to press the play button. It took everything for me to get up here and talk to you guys, like trying to make sure that I fit a certain image. I started off with, trying to talk about things that I thought other people wanted to hear about, other than just telling my truth or, just getting on here vibing out. And once I realized, like, once I started being myself, that's when I started to get more engagement. That's when I started, having real relationships and having people really follow me, like wanting my expertise, wanting to follow me in that way. It wasn't until I started showing up as my true, authentic self, but it wasn't until I went through a journey of realizing what confidence really was. Confidence is being able to go on live with, my bonnet, and I do not recommend this, you guys, but, confidence was me being able to be in front of the camera without trying to look perfect, without, going live or going on camera without having a filter on. being able to stutter on camera and not delete the entire video. Like, content creation really humbles you, and it really shows you who you really are, and it shows you how confident you are. A lot of students that I have, they have a problem with posting more because they'll depict the video all the way down to the core, and then by the end of, you know, the 15th thing that they found wrong, they would completely delete the video. Once I learned to just post the video and then critique it after, everything else changed in the game, because yes, I could critique it, but that doesn't mean I have to take it down, because at the end of the day, as a, you know, as someone who's serving in my purpose, if the message was heard, then who cares about how I sound? Who cares about what I have on? Who cares about what I look like? Did you get the message or didn't you? Like, that's all that matters. So I would stop trying to look so perfect on camera. I would stop trying to sound so perfect. Even with YouTube, like, YouTube is kind of like a production, so I'm still kind of a stickler with that. But even with YouTube, like, I try to not spend so much time editing and let it go, let it flow. And I had to build my confidence to be able to do this. So that's just a little bit about me and how I got here today. If any of that sounds like you, then here are some tips that I use to get more confident. So the first thing that I did was look myself in the mirror and depict myself to the T. Like, I would say, you know, I hated my nose. I still don't really like my nose, but, you know, and it's just because it's a family nose. Like, everybody on my mom's dad's side, like, we all have this signature nose, like, and I've always hated my nose because, you know, I've always had a fat face. So I used to hate smile. Like, I have a beautiful smile, do not get me wrong, and I've always known that I had a beautiful smile, but I used to hate smiling on camera because my cheeks will cover my whole face, and it will look like, you know, I'm squinting because my cheeks are so fat. So I used to hate my nose because, you know, everything on my face was so fat. My cheeks were big, my nose was big, my lips were big, and I just hated smiling on camera. So I would just say, you know, I hate my smile on camera, I hate my nose, I hate my stretch marks, because I got stretch marks literally from my shoulders down to my calves. I literally have stretch marks all over my body, y'all, and I had nobody's children. So I would hate I hate my stretch marks. I hate my hands. That's why I keep my nails done, because my hands are like old lady hands, like all wrinkly or whatever, like my grandma. I hated that about my hands. I hated my edges, that I didn't have no edges because of my alopecia. I hated that about myself. You know, I hated a lot of things about myself, and I would just tear myself down in the mirror. Everything that I hated about myself, I would just tear myself down in the mirror. And this is a part of the practice, you guys. So as I tear all those things down, everything that I hated about myself, then I would go into everything that I loved about myself. What are some things that I love about myself? I love my full lips. I love my thick thighs. I love my complexion. I love my hair texture. I love my feet. I love that, you know, my boobies are not too big, like not too big, not too small. Like, I never have to wear a bra, and that's just perfect for me. Like, I love that about my boobies, and I love myself naked. Like, I love myself naked. It's just when I put on clothes that I, you know, be feeling a ways or whatever. But when I'm naked, like, the body be bodying, okay? And I love that about myself. So I went into all the things that I loved about myself. Now, you would ask, why would you go through all the things that you hate about yourself? Because when I go through the things that I hate about myself, I went and I asked myself, how can I insinuate those things to not hate it so much? What about this can I change to not hate it so much? That doesn't require surgery, that doesn't require me doing anything drastic, but what can I do to insinuate the things that I don't like about myself, to make me feel more confident with those things? Well, for one, with my hair, it's easy to just wear styles that cover up my edges. That was one of the things that I always did. Like, you wouldn't know that I didn't have edges unless you knew me personally, because I was just taught, like, I know how to cover my hair up. So that was one thing. The second thing is with my nose. Your girl know how to do a nice little contour. Okay, so I know how to beat my face. Okay, so that helped with the nose situation. With my hands, of course, the nails gonna stay done. Period. They gonna stay done. And you know, those were some of the things that I did to try to, you know, insinuate those things. Like, and again, there was a false sense of confidence, because I've always, even though I didn't like even though I didn't like every aspect of myself, I've never looked at it as something that I was insecure about. I acknowledged them as flaws, but I never felt insecure about them. Like, so for my stretch marks, for example, I was never out here trying to cover up my stretch marks. Like, I hate wearing clothes. Like, I don't care if I was 300 pounds or 190 pounds. I've always been naked. Like, I like for the skin to be out. Like, you gonna get all of these rolls, you gonna get all of these stretch marks, because who gives a fuck? Okay, so that's the difference between having an insecurity and having a flaw. I was aware of some of my flaws, or what I deemed as flaws, but that didn't mean that I was insecure about them to the point where, you know, I can't go out without doing this, I can't go out without you know, having my nail. Like, I feel the ways when my nails not done. I ain't gonna lie to you, but they still done. Like, I'll say not done. When I say my nails not done, that means I got stubbies, but you know, they still gonna be done, period. So understanding that you have to learn how to love the things that you cannot change. I'm not against cosmetic surgery, but I am against, you know, people who get surgery and they still don't love themselves. I don't have, you know, the fattest wagon, okay? But you can't tell me that. Hey, love. What's up? No, I'm on YouTube.
Well, she's trying. I don't know why, because she's saying that she's a YouTuber.
So yeah, I don't have the fattest wagon, okay? But you can't tell me that I don't, because one thing about it, I'm just like Glorilla. You can't tell me that I ain't knocking over shit with this little ass, okay? A lot of times women, especially in this newer generation, they are literally insecure about themselves. They don't want to look themselves in the mirror. They don't, you know, they feel like they got to put all these pads and fillers and things like that, to the point where they are risking their lives doing, you know, basement, alleyway procedures just to get an image. And we cannot continue to support this. We have to start teaching our younger girls how to be more confident and to how to love themselves in the body that they're in. Again, I'm not against cosmetic surgery, but what are you doing it for? Are you truly, if you were never to get it, would you still be happy with what you have? If you got the money for it, completely, I completely recommend it. Do it, whatever makes you happy. But a lot of people are getting these surgeries, and as we can see in the media right now, a lot of these women are reversing their procedures because they're realizing that, hey, I wasn't myself when I was doing this. I was doing it because I thought that this was going to be the gateway to get me where I wanted to go and things like that. But you want to learn how to be confident within yourself before you do all of those things, and then just add those on as an enhancer. So after you have picked yourself to the T and said everything that you hate about yourself and everything that you love about yourself, the things that you cannot change, the things that you really can't change about yourself, learning how to love those things. Now, this one is going to be a little bit tricky, and it's going to take the most effort, learning how to love what you have already. So what I want you to do is go look up all the women who have the same thing. Just do a Google search on big nose celebrities. Go on, you know, big lip celebrities. Go on, you know, little ass celebrities, and go look at all these women. And I guarantee you will call those women beautiful. It's a plenty of celebrities who do not have any type of cosmetic surgery whatsoever. You know, it's a plenty of celebrities who have cellulite and are unapologetic with their natural bodies, and they are okay with that. And before you say, oh well, they're rich and, you know, they have this and they have that, like, it's not about what they have versus what you don't have, because, you know, money doesn't buy happiness. I just started to love my hip dips. Like, I literally just started loving my hip dips when I seen Meg Thee Stallion with them. You know, like, she still got a wagon, but you know, I just started loving my hip dips because all I said was, you know, I don't really have to have a fat ass. All I gotta do is get rid of this these love handles and it would look like I got a fat ass. Like, that's what I told myself. So it's easier for me to just lose the weight and, you know, tone up the love handles than to grow an ass, you know, because you can't grow what ain't there. That's the thing. Like, looking at people that you deem as beautiful who have the same things that you have, so that you can start to see those things as being beautiful as well on yourself. Like, it is a process. It is a mental thing. Like, it's not going to be the first person you see. Most of the time, you probably going to make an excuse. Oh, well, they got this, or well, they got that. So men are still going to love them. And that brings me to my next thing. Like, stop doing things to please the male gaze. Stop doing things to please the male gaze. Stop doing things that please the male gaze. A man will fuck anything that is walking. They do not care how good you look. They do not care how good you smell. They do not care how built your body is. They don't care about any of that. They literally will sleep with any and everything. So the attention that you think you want by changing these things about yourself is not going to be the attention that you really want. Like, you would rather have somebody who loves you at your natural state. Obviously, put some effort into looking your best where you are, but when you just look your best and you walk with confidence, confidence is the key to bag the man that you want. I mean, confidence is the key to bag the man that you want. It has nothing to do with having a fat ass. It has nothing to do with you being skinny. It has nothing to do with you having money. All it is confidence. Y'all, I do not be having nowhere near as much money as the man that I attract. And I cannot remember the last time I attracted a man who made less than, $250,000. I can't remember. I can't remember. But it's been at least 2 or 3 years since I've attracted somebody who don't really have the bag like that. And y'all see how I look. I don't be designer down. I don't have a whole bunch of money. And I definitely don't have a face full of makeup all the time. But every guy that I have attracted over the last 2 or 3 years, it's the confidence that I carry with what I have. It don't got nothing to do with anything other than my confidence. But you are not going to ever be able to see that until you can see yourself as worthy. A lot of y'all go on these dates, so y'all feel like y'all got to perform for these guys because you don't know who you are. I literally will go on a date with a million. I've done it. Going on a date with a millionaire, and he said something about I look so soft that he just want to squeeze me, and I was just like, you want to squeeze me for what? I ain't gonna do nothing but fart. And I bust out laughing, y'all. I was literally rolling, and he was just standing there like, well, that's not romantic. And I was just like, okay, but it was funny as fuck though, right? I do not be out here trying to impress these guys, because at the end of the day, this is who I am. I am goofy as fuck. I am, I'm loud. I am fun to be around, and I will never sit up here and perform for somebody, because if you have to perform to get somebody to like you, then you're gonna always be performing for them. I do the same thing if I'm being interviewed for a position for something. If you want me to come speak and do something, I can only show up as who I am. Constantly be working on yourself. The more that you invest into yourself, the more that you are learning new skills, you're getting in new circles, you are enhancing yourself. Learn how to do your makeup. It amazes me how much y'all complain about the basic things like hairstylists and makeups and luxury services that you can literally do yourself. I've never had to pay for a makeup artist ever, because I do my own makeup and I do it well. If I'm getting my hair done, only 2 people can touch my hair, and that's my friend and my sister. I'm not about to let anybody on my hair. I can do my own hair. Y'all be thinking that y'all gotta pay all this money for a lace frontal. Anytime you've ever seen me with a meltdown lace front, I did it. I did it. And it's nothing that you cannot learn on YouTube. So go learn how to make yourself that girl. You don't have to spend all this money to be that girl. You don't have to spend your money. If you feel like guys only like girls with the long nails and the ghetto hoops and whatever, go get you some. Don't be a hater. Go get you some. Go get whatever you feel like is going to attract the guys that you want to attract. If you don't think guys are attracted to that, if you think that guys are attracted to whatever you got going on currently and you're not attracting those guys, then let's check on your delusion, because obviously it's not working for you. So constantly improving yourself. Go fix up your wardrobe. Go actually study yourself. Go look at what outfits or what colors are good for your body type. What colors are good for your eyes, that bring out your eyes and things like that. All of these things are science and psychology. Being able to attract anything is always down to a psychology, whether it be in business, whether it be with partners or whatever. It's always a science to it, and it starts with the confidence of knowing. But when you have everything else that complements that, when I know I smell good, I know I look good, I know I am discussing something that I am an expert in, or have knowledge about, I can confidently have conversations. Y'all get around people who you feel like are more well-rounded than you, and then you just what am I supposed to talk about with a rich guy? What do we have in common? What do we got to talk about? Child, I will talk about anything, and it really doesn't matter. But for one, Go get you some business about yourself. Have some things that are actually fun to talk about. Go learn something about something so that you have conversations to strike up, and stop being so fucking boring. Like that's the biggest thing. Stop being so boring. Stop being so basic. And that is going to bring me to my last trick to being more confident, and that is learning who you are. You have to be able to look yourself in the mirror and know who you are. Like when you have been constantly told that you are not good enough, when you've been constantly told that you're not pretty, when you've been constantly told that this is what guys like and this is not what guys like, that's when you start to be a pygmisha. When you start to listen to what society is telling you what guys like. Guys like hoes. Like, let's be real. Like every single guy I know will tell you that they don't, and they are all lying. They like hoes. They like promiscuous women. They spend the biggest bag. The life that you actually want. Like, who cares? Like who cares about if they are in love with you? Are they spend money on the women that they are in lust with, because men don't lead with love. Like, that's you who lead them with love. So if they are in lust for you, if you are looking good, you're smelling good, and you are giving off, sensual energy, and you are confident, that is who they're going to blow the bag on. That is who they're going to invest in. That is who they're going to try to wife up, because you're fun. You're giving a good time. Like, nobody wants this conservative. Okay, let's stop with the lies that social media has y'all thinking that, men like a certain woman. Every single person, every man that I know who said that they like a certain thing, they've never been faithful. Every single man, they have never been faithful. And you're usually, when you're the pygmisha, you're typically the one who's getting cheated on, not the one who's they're being cheated with, or the one that they, are investing in. You're the one that's at home. You don't got no friends. You ain't outside. Every single time you walk out the house, you need to be walking out the house with the confidence of, I know you can get replaced today. I don't care if y'all been together for 10 years. Every time you walk out the house, you need to be looking like y'all get in these relationships and want to fall off. I hate seeing those videos like what my man thought he was going to get because when he met me versus what he got since we've been together for 5 years. Like, girl, you better start looking like how you got when you got him, okay? Because that's what's going to keep him on his toes. That's what's going to keep him in the house. That's what's going to keep him with his attention on you, because he's going to know that anytime you walk out the door, y'all ever wonder why when men see you at the store, they be like, oh, I know your man ain't let you out the house like that? It's a reason why they say that. It's because when you are in a relationship, or if you have a man, they expect you to lower yourself down so that you can look less appealing to other men, especially if you are not married. But when you are married, you still should do this. But especially when you are not married, why y'all out here looking stupid, trying to look like, a housewife, when you're not even a wife, for one, and for two, you haven't been picked. You haven't been picked. You could be missing out on your husband because you out here trying to look like you already got a man at the house. And that's not what we're going for, babes. That's not the move. That's not the flex. That's not the vibes that you want to be on, babes. You want to walk around with enough confidence, because a lot of times what I see is women are being in these relationships for 5-10 years, and they've let themselves go, and they've let themselves completely go, and then after the relationship is like, you find it hard to get back in the dating pool. You never supposed to leave the dating pool. Your attire, your demeanor, all of that should never leave. You should always look like you're single. The only way that people will know that you're not single is if you got a rock on your hand. Other than that, you should always look like, you can be picked. You should always look that way. You don't have to act like it, but you should always look like you're approachable, or, that you are confident in who you are. That's how you won't have to go through these stages of feeling ugly and things like that after giving birth and things like that. If you continue to work on yourself, go to new places and meet new people so that you can learn different skills and learn different personalities and actually test it out before you get around people that you actually want to test it out on, if that makes sense. So I hope that this video helps. I tried to make it short. I knew it wasn't gonna be short, but I hope that this video helps. If it did in any way, make sure y'all give it a thumbs up. Let me know down in the comments what you are struggling with when it comes to your confidence, or what areas of confidence are you struggling in, and let's talk about it. But if you like this video, make sure you hit that subscription button, because there are plenty more videos where this came from, and I will see you in the next one. Peace.
I'm the spiritual type, and I'm a boss too. I'm a strong black woman. I can teach you femininity, the life of luxury. Come chill with me and let me show you.